This is Josh White with JW Math Tutoring. In today's video, I'm going to go through Digital SAT Practice Test number 10, the Math section, Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second modules. So let's go ahead and take a look.
But life is a dream the calculus could never predict.
Just before I begin going through this Bluebook Digital SAT Practice Test 10 Math Section Module 2A, the easier of the 2-second modules, please keep the following things in mind. First, of course, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. Second, this video will probably not go past the allotted time of 35 minutes, but if it does, that's because on some of these problems I will show you multiple methods to solve them. And so, of course, if you're taking an official exam, you don't need to use all those methods. You would basically only use them if you had extra time left and wanted to check, your answer. And finally, if you haven't done so already, please do check out the videos for the same Bluebook Digital Practice Test 10 Math Section Module 1, and also the same Practice Test 10, the Math Section Module 2B, the harder of the 2-second modules. All right, so with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. Question number 1, here you have a basic equation and they want to know the solution to it. So of course, you can just do this by hand. Subtract 5, divide by 4, x is going to equal 40. Or you could also, obviously as with the case with any equation, just go to the Desmos calculator, type in the equation. Now we have to zoom out, look for the vertical line. There it is, right at 40. And you could get the answer that way as well. Next up, question 2, you have a basic chart. And here they just want to know the difference between the number of warehouse employees versus the number of supermarket employees. So all we are doing is subtracting 365 minus 130. When you do that, we're going to get 235. The correct answer is letter C. Next up, question number 3. This is just, you could set up a basic equation for this. It's like x plus 86 equals 100, or technically you could say x plus 86 greater than or equal to 100, because it talks about minimum number and at least instead of exactly. And then you just solve this. So what's the minimum number of hours that she needs? Well, it's just 14, letter A. Or, of course, you could think of it about, okay, we need to get to at least 100. She already has 86. 100 minus 86, she just needs 14 more. So however you want to think about it, the correct answer is letter A. Next up, number 4. Here you have a graph of a system of linear equations. What is the solution? Well, it's this point right here, -4, -3. The correct answer is letter C. Next up, question number 5. Here you have a basic unit conversion question. You're starting with 39 kilograms and you're converting it to grams. So we're going to use the conversion factor they give us, which is 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Cross out kilograms. So you're just multiplying 39 by 1,000. So your correct answer is just 39,000. And that's what we will type into the box. Next up, number 6. Here you have a function and they want to know what the x value is when the y value is equal to 8. So in other words, when 8 is equal to 4x, what is the value of 4? Well, you can probably just look at it and realize the correct answer is going to be 2 for this one. Also, of course, you could go to the Desmos calculator and you could just graph the function out. And then you could also, I guess, you could do it multiple ways. You could say y equals 8, or if you want to do the function form, you could say g of x equals 8. You have to use a different function, but you just look for the intersection, and what is the x coordinate at this intersection point? It is positive 2. So that just confirms we have the correct answer. Next up, question number 7. Here we have two triangles, two specifically right triangles. So let's draw a picture, A, B, C, because it tells us B and E are right angles. So B is a right angle. And then D, E, F, matching up the corresponding parts. Okay, A is 18 degrees. what is the measure of f? Well, if these two triangles are congruent, which they are, that's given to us, then their corresponding angles are congruent. So angle D is also 18 degrees. Therefore, we know that 18 plus the measure of f has to equal 90 because these two acute angles have to add up to 90 degrees. You could, of course, also add all three up to 180 with including the right angle, but you'll get the same thing, which is that angle F is going to equal 72 degrees. So the correct answer for this one is just letter B. All right, next up, here we have two parallel lines. What is the value of x going to be here? So there's multiple ways you could think about this. You could note that this angle and this angle are corresponding, therefore they will be congruent. And then you could say x plus 33 equals 180 because they form a straight line. So they're basically a linear pair. So x is going to be 147. Correct answer is letter D. Or you could also instead get to it going through different ways. You could say this and this are corresponding, and then you could add those two up, or so on. There's a bunch of different pairs of angles of ways you could look at it, but the whole point is the x angle that's x degrees and the 33-degree angle together are supplementary. They add up to 180, and that's how you solve it. Next up, number 9, we have a system of linear equations. So what's the value of y? Notice in the first one, it's actually easiest if you're going to solve this by hand to just plug this whole thing right in. Like, don't solve for x. Instead, just replace the 3x with the 12 that it's equal to in the second equation. Because then you just add 12 to both sides and you get y equals 6. So the correct answer for this is, of course, letter B. Now, system of equations, we can also just go straight to the Desmos graphing calculator. Where do they intersect? Okay, they intersect at the point here, 4 comma 6. We want the y value, which is 6, so this just confirms correct answer is letter B. All right, next up, we have an equivalent expression problem. So basically here, we're just factoring out the common factor. That's essentially what all of these answer choices are. And the only thing that these two terms have in common is just the x. So you factor that out and you're left with 9x plus 5. The correct answer for this is going to be letter A. Now, I will mention you can also solve equivalent expression problems in Desmos where you type the original problem and then you go through all the answer choices and you type them and you see which one overlaps completely. Okay, so notice here these two graphs overlap. That tells me they are equivalent. I'm not going to bother going through B, C, and D because, like I said, this is a relatively, basic one. You're just factoring out a common factor of X. But if it's more advanced or more complicated, absolutely feel free to use this method where you would check A, and if it doesn't work, then you check B. If that doesn't work, you check C, and so on. Next up, question number 11. Here you have basically interpretation of a linear function where they give you text and you have to turn that into an equation. So this person's walking at a certain speed, person's running at a certain speed, and total person goes for a distance of 14 miles. Okay? So in this situation, first of all, these two are out because they don't equal 14. So we need expressions here that are adding up that are miles. Okay? And the way we're just going to get miles or distance is multiplying the rate or the speed times the time. So the rate here is 3, basically, miles per hour for walking. And then you walk, the time is W hours. And the hours cancel, and you're left with 3W miles. So that's why you get 3W. And you follow the same process, and you get 5R for the number of miles that he travels while running. So the correct answer is just going to be this. Basically, it's going to be letter A. Next up, number 12. What is the perimeter of this rectangle given its length and its width? So this is not a great picture because it's not to scale, but 4499, you can just add them all up, or you could do the formula 2 times 4 plus 2 times 9. However you want to do it, 8, 18. Correct answer for this should be 26, letter D, and that's it. Next up, here you have a line where you're given its slope and you're given a point, and they want to know the equation for it. Notice this point is the y-intercept right here because the x-coordinate is 0. So therefore, we already know the slope is positive 1/9. Get rid of this, get rid of this. We know that the y-intercept is positive 14 right here. Correct answer for this is letter D. Next up, we have a basic Pythagorean theorem problem here. We have A, which we know is 4, B, which we know is 5. What represents the value of C? So Pythagorean theorem basically tells us A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So to solve for C, all you're going to do is you're going to square root both sides. So it's just going to be this right here. They don't bother to actually simplify it. They just leave it as square root of 4 squared plus 5 squared. So the correct answer for this one is, again, just letter D. Next up, question number 15. Here you have a word problem. Basically, you have 71 total dollars that was spent. Hats are $3, cupcakes are $1. So she bought 10 packages of hats. Okay. 10 packages of hats, each package $3. Okay, so we have $30 just on hats. The total amount of money spent is $71. Okay, $71, take away the 30 on hats, $41 left. That's how much is going to be spent on cupcakes. How many did she buy? Well, they're each $1, so therefore she bought 41 of them. So the correct answer for this is just 41. Next up, number 16. Here you have a polynomial, technically a cubic polynomial, and then you shift it down to units. Which equation defines this function? So the correct answer for this one is going to just be letter G, because we're taking this original function and we're subtracting 2 units from it to represent the shift down. But an alternate way you could do this is you could just go to Desmos. You type the original, and I'm not going to bother typing all the answer choices, but like you can type some of them. See, okay, let's look at C. Is the blue shifted down 2 units from the red? Okay, no, it's not. So therefore it's wrong. So let's try answer choice D here. Is the blue now shifted down 2 units from the red? Yes, look at it, it's below it. And if you try A and B, you'll see that those, B it has a different exponent. It's going to be a completely different type of function, and A is just going to affect the stretching of it because the coefficient in front is different. There's not going to be any shift. So that's how you could do that in Desmos as well. But again, correct answer is letter D. All right, next up, we have another system of equations problem. And they want to know which ordered pair is the solution. So technically, you don't have to solve for x because notice all the answer choices already have 3 as the x coordinate here, right? You really only need to find the y value. That's what's different. And the quickest, easiest way to do this is notice x plus 7 is 10. So let's replace this with 10. Okay, 10 squared is 100. Y is equal to 100. There's only one answer choice that has a y coordinate of 100, and it is letter A. So that's the correct answer. Now, if you didn't recognize that, didn't want to spend the time doing that, that's fine. Just go to Desmos, type in both equations, and then you're just going to look where they intersect. Now, the problem is you're going to have to zoom out a ways here, and there's the intersection point or the solution, 3, 100. It confirms A is correct. All right, next up, we have a scatter plot with a line of best fit, and I want to know which of the following is closest to the slope. All right, so first of all, it's obviously not C or D because these slopes are positive and this line is going downhill, so this line is negative. So we can get rid of these right away. Now, to get a good idea here, notice I start here at 0, 14, right? And then notice right here, I go down 2 and I go right 2, to stay on the line. So down 2 would be negative 2, and right 2 would be positive 2. So that tells me the slope of this line is approximately -1. So what is closest to -1? Obviously it's B, -1.1, as our answer. Now you could also, again, just go to Desmos. You could type in you could pick 2 points on the line. So I'm just going to pick like the same, 0, 14. And then what else did I pick? You could also pick 410 looks pretty close to the line, but let's say maybe you want to do the same 212 that I did before. Okay, so there's my 2 points. Now I can click on this button to do a regression. Okay, what is the slope that it gives me? Well, right here, it's -1. And again, -1.1 is closest to that. So just confirmed, correct answer is B. All right, next up, we have one equation, which is part of a system, and I want to know what the other equation could be if there is no solution. So I'm just going to show, in this case, the Desmos solution to this one. I would say, because this is a repeat question that's also on Module 2B, if you want to see the other, method to solve it by hand, go watch the Module 2B video for the same practice test, and you can see how to do it there. But for right now, I'm just going to show you how to do in Desmos, because all you have to do is just graph the various answer choices. Okay, so do we have no solution here? In other words, do we have 2 parallel lines? No, we have overlapping lines. A is technically infinite solutions, so that's out. Let's check B. All right, here it does look like we have no solution, that the 2 lines are parallel. And that is the correct answer. And I'll show you real quick. Okay, so these intersect. This is obviously not no solution. And then D, these intersect up here. Again, this is not going to be no solution because, they intersect once. So correct answer for this one again is letter B. All right, number 20. What is the what is the x-intercept of this graph? So if you want to do this by hand, you can, of course, just plug in 0 for f of x or for y, and then solve that for x, divide by 7. Looks like it's going to be 12, or in other words, it's going to be 12 comma 0. And of course, we can go back to Desmos. We can just graph out this function. All right, let's zoom out. Where's the x-intercept? There it is, 12, 0. We just click on it, get our answer. Probably quicker than doing it by hand, but it just confirms, again, the answer is letter D. All right, so for this one, there are multiple ways to do this. First way is by hand. Second way I'll show you by the calculator. If you want to do it by hand, basically what you're going to do is, we're going to say 19 times a to the third equals 2375. Just plugging in for x, this 3 value, plugging in for y, this 2375. So a cubed becomes 125. You divide both sides by 19. Therefore, a is equal to 5. Just cube root both sides. So now you have your function, 19 times 5 to the x. So now you just plug in 4 for x, and for this, you just go to the calculator. 19 times 5 to the fourth, 11,875. So there is our answer. Now, you could also do the entire problem in Desmos, and here's how. First, we go to the table, and I'm going to enter in my point of 32375. Then I'm going to do regression. So y1 tilde 19 times a to the x1. This tells us, this regression gets us the a value. And then there's multiple ways you could do it from here. You could just type 19 times a to the fourth, and there's your answer. You could actually define the function, and then you could do type g of 4 if you want to do it that way. But this is how you could just do it entirely in Desmos. All right, now we have the last question, number 22. This is a repeat question, by the way, from one of the linear paper tests 1 through 3. So this population is increasing from 2015 to 2016 by 7%. So the 2016 population is k times 2015. What's the value of k? All right, so here's the theoretical approach. You have some population x. 7% of that is just 0.07 times x. So from 2015 to 2016, this is the 2015 population. This is the increase. So in 2016, the population is going to be 1.07x. So now if you compare these two, the 2016 population equals k, I forgot the x here, sorry, times the 2015 population. So notice k just equals 1.07. Okay? So that's one way. That's basically like, kind of the theoretical explanation behind it. But you could also, essentially go to the graphing calculator and use the idea of picking numbers. So you could say, all right, original population is 100. Okay? Then we're going to increase it by 7%. So 7% of 100 is 7. So therefore we have 107 as the new population. So the 2016 population, again, 2016 equals k times 2015. So notice the k value is really equal to the 2016 population divided by the 2015 population. Or in other words, 107 divided by 100, which is 1.07. We get the same answer. So again, this is basically picking numbers. I picked a number for 2015, I calculated what 2016 would be, and then I used those to find the value of k. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of Bluebook Digital SAT Practice Test 10 Math Section Module 2A, the easier of the two second modules. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comment section below. Of course, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and sign up for notifications. Also, please check out the videos to Practice Test 10 Math Section Module 1 and also Practice Test 10 Math Section Module 2B, the harder of the two second modules. And just lastly, another note, if you're trying to improve your knowledge about Desmos, please do check out my ultimate Desmos guide to digital SAT math. Over 3.5 hours of instruction, tips, and tricks, including 45 practice problems. So look for the playlist for that as well.